Garcia. Councillor Miller.
Yeah, I too tire of talking about this. I'm not going to reiterate the same thing I say every year about this, other than to say that I appreciate staff's work on this. I appreciate that both our equity-seeking committees are in support of the plan, not including religious displays, and remind council of some of the legal advice we've received around this. But I do want to just touch on this idea. We didn't really agree to allowing religious displays last year. We had a motion come forward that was engineered in such a way by councillors working with the Christian churches to basically only set up that the nativity scene would be allowed to be displayed. It was modified in such a way that, as we saw, as the mayor pointed out, no other religion, including the Satanists, were able to meet the criteria. So it really was, really designed just so we would have the nativity scene and nothing else. And that sort of goes to what Mr. Wazirudin was saying, is that, well, we can do our best to not favor or disfavor anyone. Ultimately, what we are going to end up with if we do this is a single religion displaying a single display and nothing else. And the appearance of that remains terrible, remains, I think, legally questionable under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So while I appreciate what staff is doing and what they're saying here, I don't think there's any way around that this will come off as us favoring the most dominant religion that we have. And the only one that will end up with a religious display again this year. So it will be another year after we've been told this isn't the right thing to do that we will do it. And I just don't think that's something we want to be doing as a city. So thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Miller. Councillor Ratzlaff.
Yeah, I through you, Mayor, not to reiterate all the points that we've talked about a bunch of times already, but just building on what Councillor Miller said about paying lip service to inclusivity. Staff did tell us last time we had this conversation that if we truly wanted to be inclusive, we had to dedicate funds to a staff person that would work with religious groups to make sure that minority groups were able to or were represented. This amendment to this recommendation doesn't reflect that. The plan that we have in front of us doesn't reflect that. And in fact, when we had that conversation, the councillors who wanted the religious displays also didn't want to spend the money on dedicated staff resource to make sure that our program was inclusive, or at least more inclusive than what this will end up being. So thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Ratzlaff. Councillor McPherson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can I ask a question of staff regarding the other municipalities? The question is, are there other municipalities that actually display a nativity scene? My understanding is that there aren't any others in Ontario.
Our research, we could only find one other in Ontario, and I think that was as of 2022.
Okay. So thank you. And that's where my concern lies, is there is a reason why other municipalities in Ontario have chosen not to have religious displays on their city hall lawn. I do have concerns as well about the idea of it popping up in Montebello Park, or, you know, that does seem concerning to me. And it has been said by Councillor Miller and Councillor Ratzlaff. I think we can use the words equity and we can use the words inclusion, but we also have to recognize that some of the things that are traditionally and have been traditions are not equitable and they are not inclusive, and that our community is extremely diverse and is becoming more diverse by the day. And this idea of religious displays, it just doesn't seem to jive to me with what our government and what the city should be representing. Thank you.